big blind yet?
Yeah, where?
Heels.
Oh no, Joe was the big.
And all in for 20 for $31
Wow, I
for
can't
less
imagine what
with
this
a
was
random hand.
about.
I hope they don't run it twice. That's all I can say.
Whisper's genius, right?
Oh, the guy
Wow,
straight to gambles and he
so
flops
genius.
two pair and doubled up, and he fills
Okay.
up on the turn. Never underestimate the power of a short stack. You play tournaments, Joe, all the time. You understand that concept.
I mean, I don't play all the time, but yeah, this is exactly how short stacks go. You know, they just, it becomes a shove stack, and some people are comfortable with that. They're comfortable with, getting in short stacks and having that image. I don't know how you can make money in cash. A lot of people don't fold in cash games.
Not everyone comes to the casino to make money.
Okay, to have fun, right? Whispers is obviously having fun here. Hi, yes, it's Joe. Hi, Jim Jones.
On to the next one. Robbins is opening to 60. Is it $60 with King
Looks
9
like
suited? Pretty big open. It looks like he's betting the stack of the guy who is in big blind, which is who is our short stack. It makes sense to me because you don't want the guy to call half his stack and have half his stack remaining.
So Robbins is dominating Whispers here. I don't understand what's going on
I have
here.
to tell you, I have done this before. Part of the reason why I've done this before is because, I'll be honest with you, I hate short stacks.
Okay.
I hate short stacks, and if I have a hand, if they are in the straddle and they have $60 left, and I have a king high suited hand from the cutoff here, I'll just bet their stack so that I either take their $10 or I put them in, and then we'll run it. Maybe they'll double up, maybe they won't.
That was definitely aiming towards his stack there, that bet. So
it was that for sure. He had $69 left, and Robbins opened to 60 with that in mind from the cutoff. It looks like we lost our 7th seat. We'll see if it gets filled by someone else shortly. There is no shortage of takers for these seats here in the poker room.
People are just lining up. Interesting to see who gets in, if it's one of the regulars or just a rec player here for the night.
Well, they might pull another name out of a hat. So Joe, Mississippi straddles the button and gets a walk. What did he have? It doesn't matter because people just folded. He made $7, the easiest $7 he made tonight.
Walk.
600 game, you can see some of these guys are
oh, he was the button.
He was the button, Mississippi straddle on the button, that's right. These guys are going to have to open it up a little bit. They're 6-handed, and I'll tell you, 6-handed is shorter than 7-handed, and 7-handed table is way different when it's going to remain 7-handed as opposed to when you're at a full game and 2 people are walking.
For sure.
2 people are going to, do their business and come back. When it's a 7-handed table, it's not going to get any fuller at all, right? And you better adjust to it. We'll see who does a better job of doing that here in this game. It looks like Robbins limped in for Lee limped in for 5.
Robbins calls.
Yeah, we had a button
Heads
limp.
up to the. Wow, that just went by real fast. I'm not really sure.
It looks like there was a limper and big blind under the gun limper, and big blind checked his option.
Okay, so something's wrong with the.
Paired board on the river, and Smith from the big blind is just taking a stab because he has 10 high. He decided to pick up the $10.
So that
Robbins
was
let
a
him.
queen on the turn. I'm not really sure what's going on with the graphics.
The graphics
here.
jump.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure next hand is going to be more exciting than this one that we've just witnessed.
Is our mic staticky or? Let's see. Oh, that's better. Somebody said that. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's. Oh, is mine?
Your mic just went out.
Hello.
20.
Okay. Still good. Okay.
Yeah, you're back. Are you back?
Am I back, Mike? Okay, we're fine.
We're back. We're back to Joe opening the spot up to $20 with 8-7 suited, getting called by King Queen in the cutoff. and King
It's
Jack
great. I love this.
suited. What do we have for our flop?
I thought I saw.
And
Okay, here we go. I mean, huh.
Joe flops middle pair and an open
Oh wow,
ender.
Whispers is back.
Whispers is back with a fresh stack.
Oh, more chips.
Joe bets and no one has anything.
Nines this time. That's a good thing.
Yeah, of course
And
he
he
starts
just picks it up.
talking now. It was kind of
picks it
quiet
up.
for a while, I think.
Well, you know, you open up 8-7 off and you get through 4 people and you get a favorable flop and you're happy to pick up the 80 bucks.
Was he first to act there?
He was under the gun +1, I believe. He was under the gun. Yep, if the button is in the 3 seat now, it looks like. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's small blind. Yep. So Joe is in the straddle under the gun.
Yeah, Joe's been up and down all night, I think. He actually had a huge stack when I sat down a couple hours ago.
The action is going to start now in the 6 seat. With a fold.
Oh, we got a call from
Whispers limps
Whispers.
in for 10. He has 10-7 off.
Liberstein just, okay, he
Picks
raised.
up a good hand, raises to 50 with ace-king suited, gets called by Foreman with 8s. Foreman wasn't the big blind. Joe folds his straddled, and Whispers will continue with 10-7
Oh,
off
wow.
for $40 more. We have a three-way flop. Liberstein with a pre-flop lead with ace-king suited. He flops a really big draw. Let's see how he plays it.
He's absolutely betting out here.
It's a very well connected board. You feel like you have to bet that flop, but you know how the guys pre-flop callers have a lot of these middle cards, and it hits them a lot as well. You are still drawing to the nuts every way possible, and it looks like it will work this time around.
How do you know who it
But
was?
it's not an auto bet in my opinion. Not an auto bet every time, 3-way.
All right. All right.
He gets through and
short-lived
picks up the
hand.
chips.
So Whispers calls pre-flop, gets open-ended, and then folds.
Folds 10-7. Yep.
Would you see the turn there? I mean,
With 10-7, well, I wouldn't be in there with 10-7 off. But if somehow I was,
fair enough.
you know, it's tough. He was closing the action on the flop. He had the guy in the middle fold. If you hit your open-ender there, you're not going to get paid because it's going to be a 4-liner to a 10. There are 4 hearts, so if a heart comes, you may not get action, or, like we see in this case, you may not even be good.
4 of you.
It's a tough spot, probably a correct fold.
Finally,
New high hand card king to the 9.
We have a limp pot once again, it looks like. $20 pot. No one has much of any. Well, Smith has top pair with the ace.
Move really fast.
He bets it for pot. Robbins has second pair and continues. Second pair deuce kicker's a little optimistic. It's a 2-pair draw.
That's a great check by Smith there.
Good.
We'll see what happens here. Oh. Flush gets there.
Front door flush comes in.
Yeah, Queen wins it.
No one.
See if Robbins takes a stab at
Robbins
this.
does turn his second pair into a bluff. Well, second pair,
much
third
do
pair
you
now, second pair on the flop.
45.
Smith can't really call. There's a 4-liner to a queen and 3 clubs, which was the front door flush. Good bet on the river by Smith. If you go into call with second pair on the flop and peel there, you're going to have to find ways to win the spot without improving to the best hand, and he's done just that.
He does have a Robbins has a very tight image. I think I've seen him play 4 hands so far. He could have a higher ace there too. I mean, it's kind of an iffy spot.
I should have the flush.
I do like the check on the turn by
All right, good fold for me.
C2.
By Smith. Smitty.
$10?
Okay, another hand. Here we go. Not sure what he has here, but
35.
that is 40.
Liberstein opens to 35 with ace 10 off. Smith calls next to act 6, 5 of clubs. Pretty standard. Robbins is going to come in there with king 6 off.
It's getting a little loose after that winning.
Somewhat of a questionable call. But hey, the guy has king high. No one else has king high.
Hi, Pokerari. Commentators, this is
205?
Joe Kim.
205.
Here comes the squeeze from Joe Palma. He decides to put the squeeze in there with ace of diamonds, 5 of spades. Big squeeze to $205. We'll see how Liberstein reacts to it. Ace 10 off, it's difficult to continue. 6-5 of clubs, you know, too big of a bet to call. And of course, king 6 off is going to get out of the way, and Joe is going to pick it up with an aggressive play from small blind. Once again, what you're watching tonight, there's a 2-5 locals live game from Sugerhouse Casino in Philadelphia. Your commentators for this 2-hour session are Ilya Ekstut and Joe Kim. Sit right next to me.
Hello. Hi, guys. Thank you, Pokerari.
Right on the button.
GB13.
Lots of luminaries in the chat tonight, huh? Lots of supporters, lots of poker fans, poker enthusiasts, poker players, and other people in poker business.
Gotta love that.
DNR13.
Yeah, Worm doesn't have his usual toothpick in his mouth, I think.
But he does have his usual button straddle to 10. Mississippi to 10, and we'll see what kind of action that brings.
$60.
Big blind completes, and Robbins is raising hijack to 60. Let's see what he's got.
JS 1311.
Ace queen. Solid hand, 4 men next to act with ace 10 suited, and that is what we call a tight fold.
He's been raising kind of.
He's been raising on the bigger side, but you know, maybe he's trying to isolate. Again, he's trying to isolate the big blind who has limped in here. He knows that Joe on the button is not shy about putting chips in the pot. Ace queen figures to be the best starting hand, so there's nothing wrong with getting more value pre-flop by raising bigger.
I like that.
King
Nobody hits
6-4 rainbow, and everyone's whiffs. Let's see what Robbins does with his ace queen high here.
I think he'd be
C-bet
c-betting,
for
yeah.
half pot C-bet, takes the money. Good play.
Okay, Robbins. I don't think he's gone to showdown yet, right? Robbins?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
To the button.
RR12.
Joe continues with the straddle trend. He is Mr. Straddling now out of the cutoff spot.
Definitely a much different game than earlier.
Yeah, completely different set of players, different dynamics, different stacks.
Yeah.
We see some of the shorter stacks here come into play, and that's certainly affecting the action as well. You know, and it seems that these guys are keeping it pretty close to the vest for the most part, other than Joe the Worm. Joe the Worm, Mississippi straddles the cutoff and raises with
yep,
ace
has a
king
hand
suited.
here.
What do you know? Let's see what kind of action he gets. It
Oh,
looks like whispers in the small blind, counting out a call.
I can't figure him out. I can't figure him out. Did he look at his cards?
Well, he had to have. We haven't looked at his cards because they haven't popped up on the screen yet.
Heads up.
We'll see what he is in there with. He has $100 remaining. There's $135 in the pot at this point. And it's queen 10,
Sure, he's
deuce,
c-betting
rainbow.
here.
Joe is putting him all in. He whispers folds.
I don't think
Joe takes
Joe's.
some
I mean, I don't think Whispers is checking, you know, any flop that he hits. I mean, so far
He should be, because he
Right.
doesn't have the lead. He should be checking every flop and then calling off with a lot of hands against Joe. But he didn't do that. He probably missed it. What he had, we may never know.
and on to the next.
So today is day 1 of this round of Poker Night in America broadcast from Sugerhouse Casino. Day 2 and 3 and 4 are to follow. The next 2 days will be taken up, as you can see on your screen, by King of the Hill 3, featuring Brandon Adams, Olivier Bousquet, Dan Coleman, and Scott Bloomstein. They're going to play heads up sit and goes with $50,000 buy-in with winner take all. So winner will walk away with $200,000 at the end of day 2, which is going to be Thursday. Day 4 on Friday is going to feature a high stakes game with some of the regulars from Poker Night in America,
One free
as
card.
well as some of the celebrities. that are going to join the action.
So we have 3 players here.
Nines are good right now.
Alma seems to be in the lead. Can't really see Robin's hands right now.
King high.
King high is good.
Someone announced king high, and someone flipped it over like it was the nuts. It was Joe the Worm, and it looks like it's good enough to take the
You
pot.
could have had it anytime you wanted it.
They're all trying to get there on him.
It's hard to kill the worm, as they say.
Yeah, especially this one.
He's a survivor. We'll see if anyone steps up the aggression level in order to match Joe's. It doesn't look like it thus far in the game, but it can change on the turn of a dollar. You know, someone loses a big hand, someone gets cooler here in any way, and the dynamics shift.
Surprised we got somebody with a phone on the rail here. So lax.
Foreman limps in first to act with 8-6 offsuit. Wants to see a flop.
20.
Got a raise here.
Got a raise from Lee with king jack suited.
Let me take the
He
last
makes
sip of
a
this.
20. Very small raise over one limper for this game, I would say.
Thank you.
He gets called by the small blind. He gets called by the big blind, and the limper calls as well. We have 3 people going to this flop. Smith flops best with his top pair and bad kicker.
He's close behind with flush draw here, and got yeah, just a flush draw and a pair.
Big flop for Lee. He flops second pair and a nut flush draw. He continues for 15 to an $80 pot. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this bet. You know, an ace is not going to fold for a bet here on the flop, so you're not likely to get through a top pair. Now the pot is larger.
Smith just turned.
Turn is a blank. Your opponent turn to pair. He doesn't know that. I would expect king jack of hearts to check back, and he does. Blank on the river. Smith will probably check again unless he wants to put in a thin value bet here with his top. Well, he turned top 2.
Yeah, it seems like Lee gave up anyway on that turn.
He bets 80, a smallish bet. It's a good bet. You don't think your opponent has an ace. You're basically value targeting a king here. Can Lee call here? It's hard to say. I don't think he should call. He is the one with hearts, so it's not like he can put his opponent on the heart draw. I mean,
might
he
be
can, but
loving
it's less
himself
likely.
to call just because of his check on the
I
turn.
wasn't supposed to lose that hand. That hand I was not supposed to lose.
He might think this is bluff here by Smith.
It's a little bit of usual. A lot of people do
I
check
thought the
top
9
pair
would have
when,
enough flush
when the
draw.
backdoor flush comes in. Obviously, it's not as scary as the front door flush, but still. But he is going to make a disciplined fold and a correct one.
Okay.
Why did you
Nice
fold that
hand
hand,
played by
Black?
all, I believe. I think Smith played this in flow, checking the turn. He maybe had an opposite raise on the turn, but when the turn got checked through, he put in a good value bet on the river. Did not get called.
Straddle.
And the players are now seeing the previous hands on the screen, so probably got some reads
They're
as well.
peeking. they're peeking.
Picking up some info.
I'll tell you, it's not like someone got a big bluff through here. There isn't anything that they're going to discover. It's going to be extraordinary by looking
Not
over
yet.
at a 30-minute-old stream.
I think a lot of that was done last session. I saw a lot of bluffs. It was pretty insane.
Would you say
There's a
the
little more
fetid
tame
action
right
going
now.
forward when people turned and saw those plays on the screen from 30 minutes ago? Do you think it affected action for your group?
I'm not really sure. I mean, my group, I know like half of the table knows each other and how they play, so I don't think we were even really paying attention. Not sure who was. It was just me and Worm, and then the other people were drawn in. Was that it?
You're lucky
I'm not
didn't
sure.
come on that hand.
Okay. I mean, it was a good group. So Foreman has 500 in front of him right now, huh?
It looks correct, judging by his stack. Yep.
All right. So who's got the big stack here? Worm's
Joe
got
is sitting with
1345.
1300. Yeah.
Slowly building up. really his style.
Whispers continue to limp
Did
in
he
with his
just-
short stack in early position. This time he has ace jack, so he's basically not raising anything. He's opening with 10-7 off as well as ace jack. He wants to see flops. He wants to flop a hand. And then continue from there.
Super
We
unorthodox.
got a raise here from
And
the
of course, the
button.
entire table comes in.
Robbins makes a small raise over 3 limpers from the button with king 10 off. You know, it's a fine raise, but I would make it bigger to kind of cut this field a little bit. Now you're playing in a family pot.
Not very much aggression I'm seeing at this table yet. I mean, Robbins a little bit. Oh, here we go, a bet from Robbins. So that's a C bet, right? He hit the top pair.
Yep, he has to. Top pair, good kicker. What he doesn't know is that foreman next to Act has flopped the bottom set, and foreman is not going to waste any time. This is a very wet flop. He's going to put it in a big raise right now, right away.
With all these players behind, I just have to raise this flop.
And Robbins made a big bet. He bet 125 into this pot. The pot was 150 with 6 ways for $25 each. He bet. He pots it with top pair. Gets essentially min raised as it stands by a 4-man, which is a good play here. You don't want to blow the guy off of a hand because you know that when the pre-flop better continues, he probably has an overpair or a top pair. Probably doesn't have a flush draw. You can min raise and then just get the rest of the stack in. This is a good card. Good card from Robbins. Good card for Robbins. He may be able to get away from his.
I think he's all in. He's all in.
Well,
Foreman is all in, so
Foreman went all in blind before they saw turn card after min raising the flop.
Got it.
And he min raised it because the bet was so big and his stack was so short. He put in 255 after Robbins made it 125 as a C bet. He puts in his remaining 200 and change blind, and Robbins makes a fold on a queen spade. Disciplined fold by Robbins at this point, I think. You're not beating
I'm
anything.
not
The
sure
guy
about the
was
call on the flop. but-
called the flop for a min raise. I mean, it's tough. I think, you know, I'm not a big fan of the sizing of the C bet. There's no need to bomb 125 into a $150 flop. I think maybe the looseness of Joe is affecting him, but you know, he's trying to protect his hand with a flush draw
Absolutely
there.
protecting his hand against all the players that decided to.
But
Get
when
in
you
there.
get raised, you're not happy there with King 10. You're not happy. He called the mid raise for 130 more, and then got away from it just in time without paying off the rest of the four-man stack.
Not sure what he was trying to get though after that call.
35?
So Whisper just
I'm
limps
going. I'm ready.
it. Also raising.
Joe takes the lead from small blind. I think the noise on the line is just loud stereo from the poker room feed. So Palma takes the lead from small blind. You know, raising fours from small blind is somewhat optimistic. I mean, it's difficult to play after the flop. Obviously, you're not going to like a lot of flop unless you flop a 4. You know, he will continue on this flop because that's what he does. Whispers with his 7s. I mean, what are you going to do?
Great
You
guy
limp
to
call.
play against heads up. That's for sure.
Especially the guy who has $40 left. He limp calls
he
with
does.
7s and folds when 2 overcards come in on the flop.
And he just showed the 4s to Whispers. I'm pretty sure he's kicking himself right now.
Whispers is not happy. Can't be happy.
Maybe that'll loosen it up a little bit.
He's gonna come up
With
with a
his
different
20-some
strategy
left.
to flop to play his
Bye,
short
boys.
stack. You know,
So he's back to, let's see, 4,000. Oh, come on, Whispers.
Where are all the
Rooting
other-
for you.
where are all the other players? So our medium stacks have creeped up here. Robbins and Foreman from their $500 stacks have creeped up closer to $900. So they're in the 200 big blind territory. So are Liberstein and Smith, and Lee and Palma are leading away here in the chip counts. We'll see how it continues. You know, I don't see a lot of people getting out of line. You know, Joe excluded. I think people are taking somewhat passive lines with their hands. We haven't seen a big semi-bluff on a big draw. We haven't seen multiple barrels from people. We'll see how they proceed from here on out. We have a limp from small blind. It's a straddle pot from the button by Joe. Small blind limps with Jack 10 suited. Big blind limps. The big blind folded. We have a limp from the hijack cutoff on the button. and it's a Jack 8-3 rain.
Lee ahead.
Lee with Jack 10 and
He checks that
Palma
flop.
with Jack 4. Small blind checks first to act, checks all the way to Joe, who
Now
bets
let's
his
see.
top pair.
Right.
Let's see how
New high hand 60.
He raised, actually.
Foreman
Foreman
took a
bet
stab
15,
at it.
which I
He
don't
took a
really-
stab.
yeah.
He took a stab at Jack 8-3 with A7, no equity at all. Very optimistic. Gets raised by top pair by Joe, and that gets a fold from Lee.
Wow.
You know, sometimes
Not
they
a
say.
fold.
You know, sometimes they say straightforward poker is the most rewarding. If I'm Lee there in the small blind with Jack 10 suited, you flop a Jack high flop.
You have to
flop.
bet out.
You just lead with it and see what happens. There's no way to get tricky and then level yourself into folding. Best hand on the flop.
Especially against Worm. I mean,
You know, once it goes bet called, you don't know what everyone
Exactly,
has,
if you're
and
not
then
betting
it's
out
hard to
there.
proceed out of position. And Joe is on the button and he's putting pressure on the pot. It's tough what to do on future streets. I think it's a little bit too weak to just throw away Jack 10 here on that flop.
okay, next hand.
Joe still straddles,
Did
this
Worm
time
show
from the
that?
cutoff. He did not go that, he did not show this. Action starts from the button as Joe Mississippi straddles from the cutoff, and the button
Oh, wow,
has
what a-
ace king.
what
Let's
a
see how he
spot.
does here.
Sure,
going to
he's a
commit
little
for-
upset he didn't straddle here. I hate that when somebody straddles and you just wake up with a
Do
hand.
you normally straddle, or is that an exception for you?
Oh no, absolutely not.
So
Worm
he'll-
and I've been, switching off, straddling each other's stack, but let's see what happens here.
So he opens the button to 30, which is a very small raise in a straddle pot. He gets called by Whispers in the small blind with Jack 6 suited. Liberstein comes in with pocket 8s in the big blind.
Okay.
And Joe defends his straddle with a hand that we're about to reveal itself. In fact, we see Whispers is all in here for 35 pre-flop with Jack 6 of spades.
Yeah, and Lee can't really do anything. It's less than a min raise. So, thank you.
It-
A fish is coming?
It folds. It folds to. It folds to the button. He's going to c-bet his ace king. It's a king 10, Jack monotone flop, all spades. He flopped top pair with a nut flush draw, huge hand. Some people check this hand. Some people bet this hand for value. He decided to make a bet. He got called by Joe, who has queen of spades.
We got a blocker. I mean, Lee has, Worm's never gained the royal flush, but it's definitely a kind of flop he likes playing here.
Joe's not folding an
No, he's
open-ended
definitely
straight flush draw, so
He's
he
not
continues
doing
to
that.
calling. What he doesn't know is he's drawing close to the little very slim. Very slim. Bet on the turn is $100. Small bet. I like it. I like it. He bets third pot. He has the board completely covered.
What might raise here? I mean, sometimes he kind of spazzes when he sees a weak bet.
This would not be a good time to raise. I think, given how Lee has been playing in the session, I wouldn't be raising here because he has a hand. He continues to bet. He has a player all in. There are no bluffs here. He has a value hand. And on the side, well, you know Joe better than I do because he decided to pounce on this third pot bet on the turn.
I think he just kind of wants to see where he's at.
Well, where he's at is he has queen high. That's where he's at. And the guy bet twice into him, and in a kind of a lockdown board with 3 spades out there. He's repping a big hand. Pre-flop raiser is repping a set here. He is repping ace king or aces. It's hard to get that range to fold with a check raise on the turn. He makes a big check raise. He makes it 575 to go.
So Lee is
475 more
kind
to
of
go.
tight. I mean, maybe Worm is trying to play the player here, but it's I'm not sure if he's going to pick up on how Worm plays. No, not another fold, Ryan.
Well, you know, and I mentioned this on the flop, you know, some people check this board multi-way. When they get called, sometimes they check the turn to pot control because you have a redraw to the nuts and you just hate getting blown off of this hand. He hates his spot right now. he wishes he never reached even for his chips on the turn here. He wanted.
He is on the button.
He
We
was
see what
he was
does.
considering checking, but you know he's up against Joe. He's like, well, I
Only
can
got
get some
queen high, but
thin
I got a
value
good
here
queen
with
high.
top pair, top kicker. But
Wow, and
Joe
he just
pounces.
starts talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
queen
And
three.
he's eventually going to see the hand because.
Well, he's going to see it right now because we have an all-in
That's it. That's all
situation,
Whispers
right?
is
Whispers
queen,
is
buddy.
all in with the jack, and
Oh,
Whispers is
no.
going to quintuple up if his
Ryan's
jack
going to
holds
go.
and his hand does hold.
Good hand, buddy.
Whispers wins the main pot. Joe picks up the side
that's
pot
pretty
with the
sick.
big semi-bluff raise,
Oh,
check
Ryan,
raise
I
on
feel
the
your
turn.
pain.
Ryan feels sick right now.
So that raise, did that put Ryan all in though? What? It was 5 something more.
I think Ryan had no. He has a good amount of chips behind. He made it 475 more. I think he raised. It went 100 to 575. Big raise, and that raise needed to be big. But I'll tell you, that raise is
I don't think so. The only one I want here.
pretty optimistic when pre-flop opener
last time we only
bets
did
twice to 6 people.
Well, you got it through somehow.
Got through. He got through, and it got through against
we were allowed to, I
close
would
to
know
the
whatever
top
you
of the guy's range. Top pair with a nut flush
Yeah, I can't
redraw.
fold after I put
I mean, I think he's
525
just
in with that
thinking
hand.
what hands could Worm have here to be doing that, maybe protecting a
Well,
straight.
Worm can have a lot of hands, right? He can have any 2 pair on this flop. He can have a small flush. He can have a bottom straight here.
So yeah, guys, some of these players are local. Definitely recognize some of the faces. You know, I'm sure a few just drove up here for this occasion. But yeah, I mean,
That's
we
what I
try to
heard.
keep it local. I definitely recognize a few of them. Not especially at a 2-5 table, but I've seen them in poker rooms. See what's going on here.
By the way, the players registered to participate in this event right here in the poker room by filling out a form or on the Sugerhouse website. So, you know, some of these guys play different games. They play different levels. They play PLO. They play tournaments. They play different types of poker. Their name got pulled out of the bin. They were fortunate enough to get a spot at this feature table. So here we are observing their play. That's what we've got on tap for today.
Wow, Foreman gets a straight. Is that a backdoor straight he got there?
He backdoored. He flopped. He
shot.
flopped the bottom end of a gut shot, and he backdoored the low straight here. He will lead with it and
snap
get snap called by top pair. Foreman scoops out a small pot
Always
here.
have it, huh? Always have it.
I mean, he might be thinking he has a straight blocker or whatnot too. Let's see, all the flushes he gets there. Ooh, one
Yeah,
flush
the
he
front
got there.
the front flush draw busted. So king